switch on your cameras and try to engage with us. So my name is Joshua Joseph. I'm an undergraduate at NSBM following my BSc in International Business and Management. So I'm a management from the University of Plymouth. So with us today, we have two esteemed gentlemen. So I cordially welcome Mr. Fahad Farook, an international trainer and certified transformative coach, and also Mr. Bharatha Rathnayake, the manager in performance management and employee branding at Nestlé. So good evening to both of you. Good evening, Mr. Fahad and Mr. Bharatha. So hope you are doing great. We are honored to have you here.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks for the welcome. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Bharatha, hi.
Hi, Joshua. I'm here. Excited. Hi, Fahad. Seeing you after a long time.
Long time. How are you doing?
Doing extremely well. Unfortunately, we can't meet like other days, but keeping well. Yeah.
Awesome.
So shall we dive right into the topic then of winning mindset? So we had our first episode earlier. We had it on stress management. So today's episode is quite, the scope is quite different of what we have today, because I think a winning mindset is important is something which is very important to have these days, because with all what's going on, like we don't have to remind you all you guys about the situation, but with all what's going on, I think it's something that we should inculcate, a winning mindset. So let me dive right into the topic, and I'm directing this question to both of you. So what is a winning mindset? Or like, according to each of you, why is it important to have a winning mindset? So you could go. So let me start with Mr. Fahad.
So winning mindset. When we ask that question, I hope it's okay if I mix languages. Joshua, is that okay?
Totally fine.
ගොඩක් කට්ටිය හිතනවා this winning mindset is some sort of a superior next level thing that some people have that other people don't have. I disagree. I think winning mindset is very situational. හරි දැන් මම දැන් ඉන්න මොහොත මොන වගේ මොහොතක්ද, right? Based on where I am now, what sort of things do I need to do? How do I need to think to get to a place that's better than where I am now? That's very simply, that's all it is, right? So this might mean a lot of things or little things. This might mean doing stuff that other people have done or doing new things. That is irrelevant. The first thing that I would like to break is that winning mindset means Usain Bolt විතරක් තියන, මාලිංගට විතරක් තියන, Bill Gates jobs to විතරක් තියන, Musk විතරක් තියන, ඒ කට්ටියට විතරක් තියන දේවල් නෙමෙයි. If you are in some situation and you need to get into a better situation, using your mind or your attitude or your mentality to get out of the situation is very simply, for me, a winning mindset. Joshua, you're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry. So thank you. So I think that was a very great way to make people understand it and to grasp the approach of winning mindset. So I would also want to ask the same question from Ms. Bharatha, like same thing what I asked Mr. Fahad. What is a winning mindset and why is it important?
All right. So I totally agree with Fahad. It's situational because we don't have the same emotions at all the times. But just to add a little more to what he said, so winning mindset, you don't get it just like that. It's not a one-off thing. It's a lifetime practice. So you have to keep on practicing it. So we have seen people lose. We have seen people win. and it doesn't come overnight. It's sort of a practice. And if you ask me what's the meaning of life, I won't be able to give you a single answer, right? So similarly, different people have different definitions for word winning mindset. So if we have from our participants today, they will give us like good 10-15 answers in different ways, because it's different to one another. For me personally, I would think not giving up and having the discipline to try out even when you're losing. So that's the winning mindset according to me. But if you ask from me again, this is something like life. So it's a lifetime practice. So that's going to be the answer. So we'll ask from the audience also, what do they think? According to them, what's the winning mindset is?
Yeah, actually, like if anyone wants to like unmute and say like, this is what I think a winning mindset is, please do unmute and please come up and speak for yourself. Like Mr. Bharatha said, he said like not giving up, keeping at it, like keeping at your goal, going forward to your goal. So that is that's his definition for winning mindset. So please, if you guys have any more answers, please come up and speak up.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I personally think is winning mindset is like you work to achieve your dream, but it's not just about it won't magically happen. All of us, we should do perfectly practice, and then only we can get to a certain goal we want. So that mindset, the mindset that is having that we should practice, that is, according to my opinion, I think that's what winning mindset is.
Very true.
Vibhuda, can I just add something to that? That was Vibhuda Ranasinghe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I want to make a small adjustment. When you were saying you use the word perfectly practice, I'm just going to slightly disagree there, because practice, yes, that's consistent, right? Keep trying, keep failing, keep improving, practice. But if we keep in our mind, and this is a problem, the reason I'm pointing it out is it's because the problem I see with a lot of Sri Lankans, Mama Atuluwa, we won't attempt unless we feel it's perfect, right? So winning mindset is not about that, right? It's not about we try, because in those situations sometimes so we don't try. So in that situation, I'm going to agree with half of what you're saying, in the sense that keep trying, keep attempting, keep practicing, but it doesn't always need to be perfect. It can be imperfect. It can be lavata there. It can be almost there, but just keep trying. By that, I do not mean hamavelema put a below par output. That's not what I mean, right? But don't wait until it's absolutely perfect. Sometimes it's good enough, because we're human beings, right? We can't always perfect it. So Vibhuda, I'm just going to make a small adjustment there. Please don't get angry. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Thank you. Anyone else like has anything to say towards this, towards your definition to a winning mindset?
We should thank Vibhuda for opening up. I mean, it's very rarely we see people speak up in webinars, so credit goes to you. Thank you. Great job.
Actually, yeah.
Thanks for giving the opportunity.
So yeah, likewise, does anyone else also like we can open space for one more person to come up and give on your definition for a winning mindset. Okay, seems like yeah. So I think
Yeah. So according to what I see is a winning mindset is something that you are comparing yourself, but not others. So according to my opinion, that's the winning mindset. Thank you.
Anyone like you all have any comments for? I think that was
I didn't catch who said that, but I didn't catch your name. But I heard sentiment. Tulani. Okay,
yeah,
so
it's Tulani.
that's one of the things that I agree with 100%. මොකද පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් what we've been groomed is to look at role models, right? මෙයා වගේ වෙන්න. So then what happens to our brain is we create that person as a benchmark, okay? And we try to be like that person. That's good because it gives us something to aspire to, but within us exists some sort of authentic ideal to what a different person exists, right? So what I really like about that thing is මම ඊයේ කරේ 5යි හෙට මම කරනවා 6ක්. මගේ ideal 10 15 ඉන්නවා ඇති, but I am just trying to beat my best. I'm just trying to be better than yesterday. Yesterday I got this much, today I'm going to try this. So that's what I like about, because it's not we can't, because everybody's playing fields are not equal. අපිට අනිත් කට්ටියත් එක්ක compare කරන්න පට්ට අමාරුයි. But we can compare with ourselves, right? We can see, යකෝ මම මෙච්චරක් කරන්න මගේ හැකියාවත් එක්ක මට තව පොඩ්ඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. And that's where that whole winning mindset comes in. So I agree to that sentiment, and no arguments or disagreements there.
Okay. Ms. Bharatha, is there anything you want to add?
All good, all good. You can go ahead.
Okay. So let's go on to. I have quite a thing to add now. We spoke about generally. We spoke about what the winning mindset is, and we got people to give it their opinions also. But so now we are in an uncertain situation. So we've been revolved with a lot of bad news, and a lot of things have changed in the world. So people are taking it difficult. So with all of this happening around us, how can we actually stay positive and have this winning mindset? So how are we to how can we deal with all of this? So I direct this question to Mr. Fahad and also Mr. Bharatha. So yeah, Mr. Fahad, you can start.
I would like Bharat to start because I think he has more insight on this area than me, being in the corporate world. I'm a corporate trader. He's living in the corporate world, so I think he has more valuable insight than me on this.
Thanks, Fahad. I'll take it. So okay. So have you seen these people who have the can-do attitude all the time? Have you seen these sort of people? Joshua, I'll direct this question to. Have you seen these sort of people? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have. Yes, I have seen a lot of my friends. So, yes.
There are again sort of people, when you give them something, they are extremely good at it, no doubt. But they hesitate, right? They'll be like, will I screw this up at the last moment? Can I get through that exam? Do you know there's a scientific reason for that? So I'm not going to talk about the science a lot because I don't want to confuse you guys, and I'm not a psychologist to do that also. But just for your understanding, I want to say that there is a part in our mind called limbic region. When you have an unpleasant situation, right, your mind thinks through the limbic region. It gets you to the defensive mode. So we call it FFF, fight, flight or freeze. What happens when a dog comes barking at you? Either you freeze, either you flight, you run, right? Yeah. Or you will try to fight. Okay? So that's what our mind does through the limbic region, right? But let's say if you are in a very good situation, like let's say you are in a very pleasant, energized situation, then your mind thinks through a place called prefrontal cortex, right? That's where you see the bigger picture. That's where when you come up with new ideas, innovations, right? That's why the companies like Apple, Google, they create this workplace to create that environment because they know the science. In Sri Lanka, most of the people doesn't know about psychology, right? We are lacking that. That's why trainers like Fahad and many other organizations trying to bring that culture, right? So this is the exact reason. So usually this takes like 25 years for a person to build it in the mind, right? So this is from the childhood. Now, if you are hearing now, as Fahad said, from childhood, don't do this, don't do that. If that's what you are hearing, you are in that FFF mode. You are defensive for everything, right? So it takes 25 years usually to, sort of build that mindset in your mind. But with solid effort and time, you can definitely change it. So that's why I said some people are very energetic and they are open for anything. You see this in corporate, you see this in schools, you see this in clubs. So this is the reason, right? I'll stop there and I'll let Fahad add to this answer, and then we'll continue the question.
That insight from Bharatha is so valuable because in this stage, a lot of people are in this get they are with that. Some people are with the confidence, but they're in that stop, start, tallu, start, yanna depada sort of mode, right? And sometimes you make shit decisions and you make bad investments and you make bad choices. But I think exactly you're on the fence, right? Because you're uncertain. I think Vibhuda said it right, on the fence. You're uncertain. And that's partly because of the environment. And sometimes, like if you listen to motivational speakers on the internet, right? And you have to be smart about it. That's why I think self-awareness is really important, right? So it's not about what the world says you can or can't do. It's about understanding, connecting back to what that lady said earlier. It's about understanding what are my parameters, what are my limits. Can I push those limits within this external environment? And that's really important. So if you know that you're capable, but you're hesitating, then you're an idiot, right? But if you're kind of uncertain about yourself, then get some advice. Full motivated because that is not real, right? You can do anything, that is bullshit. That is not real, right? There are some real obstacles that you're going to face, and you've got to be really geared to deal with it. So which is why I'm not like a big fan about this internet tech. I'm not a big fan of those things because, dude, it's not real. Like, some of us have some real restrictions that we need to deal with. So in this present situation, it's a cost benefit, right? What's blocking me? What do I have? And how can I find a way to deal with both of these things in the middle kind of thing is what I think.
Yeah. And just to like add to that, kind of like a follow-up question, like even you mentioned it when you were talking, giving your answer, like everything is not possible. Yes, not entirely. Yeah, but there are some people who actually have a talent of doing something, but their belief system is quite unfunctional, that they kind of think, can I do this? They always doubt themselves. Can I do this? Will I be able to do this? And like not going ahead with it. So because sometimes, okay, if you went ahead with this, you would have got the opportunity, but you have that kind of like trigger in your head thinking you're scared. How can that be over?
So I'll explain it that way, Machan. There are two mindsets, right? Every time we get an idea, first our thought is always yes. Yes is acceptance, right? Yes. The next word decides your approach. Some people are yes, but. Oh, hebei. And following that but will be a host of reasons why things will not work. Okay. Yes, but, and yes, but, down, right? There are some other people. Yes, and people. Yes, and these obstacles might come and we need to plan for it, versus yes, but we can't do it because of these obstacles. This is where the practicality comes in. Some people are blindly yes and yes and blindly. Some people are yes but in a very self-detrimental way. If we can find that sweet spot where you're practically yes and these are the possible obstacles, but if I can plan for them, then I should be okay, right? Yes, and these things might not go my way, but if I can hedge them, I should be okay. That is the sweet spot we need to be. It's not easy. It's not mummy kiyane ka pattala easy, right? I'm just mummy kiyanawane cutting. But when you go down to doing it, right? Talk to someone who's in the, ultra, cutthroat corporate world. Bharat will tell you it's not that easy. Right? It's not that easy. You got to get some big breaks. You got to get some big opportunities. You got to work really hard. But that mentality of yes, but yes, and in a smart way, then you're going to be in a better place.
Mr. Bharatha, do you have anything actually like from your point of view? Do you have deeper into this?
Yeah, so exactly. Again, now I'm going to relate what Fahad said in the beginning. He gave us a fantastic start. He said that it's situational, right? So why I agree with that. Now, let's say if you want to have a winning mindset, it is something to do with the confidence as well, right? So what gives you confidence? Number one, it can be the skill level you have in that particular stuff. What do you call the task, right? Number two, it could be your previous experiences. So if you have very bad experiences in future trying out this thing, you will always hesitate. That's what I said. This prefrontal cortex and all this limbic region come to play because your brain stores everything, whether you like it or not. It's just that we don't remember what we want to remember, right? So it stores everything. And again, the know-how, the skill level, past experience, all this comes in handy to build your confidence level. So when you are confident, you have that winning mindset. That's what I said. This doesn't come overnight. This is a practice. This is a practice. So if you fail, if you stop the moment you fail, right, then you won't see scientists in this world. No innovations. There will be no iPhones. There will be no PlayStations, whatever. I like PlayStation, so that's why I said that. So, so no innovations in this world, because how many times they would have failed? That's what I say. Until you stop trying, no one else can fail you.
Thank you very much for that. Like from both the sides, like it built up into a really good answer, and I'm sure the audience would have something to ask regarding to what we discussed. Please do unmute and ask. Even you can leave a message in the chat box also. So, anyone has anything to ask, anything to clarify with? Yeah, I guess. No.
The biggest fear in this world is to be killed by someone. I would consider in Sri Lanka, the second biggest fear is public speaking. Right? People don't speak up. And this is what happens to them in front of the interview panel when they go for the job. So, I mean, this is your opportunity. As I said, it doesn't come overnight. So keep practicing, keep trying it out.
True, very true.
So my case, it's not a question sort of thing, but to add to what something one of our speakers said, I want to say that the only competitor we have is ourselves, not anyone else. Just add to that. Yeah, I just want to say that.
Okay, thank you, Buddha. Yes, Mr. Paul.
No, totally agree with him. But again, have to say this now. Let's say, as Fahad said, we can't do everything in this world, right? Now, this is why we have been misled. I don't know who did this to us. We can't do everything in this world. Like it's not possible for us to do everything, right? Have you heard of this rule called 10,000 hours? I mean, if you want to become a pro in one task, you have to at least put 10,000 hours, right? If you want to become a pro. So how much time you have, right? How many 10,000 hours you would have. So that itself, it says that we have the time restrictions. We have exceptional characters who would play football, cricket, and rugby for their national teams. right? Those are exceptional characters. You can be one, no issues there. But if you get in general, your limit is defined by you, I agree. But having said that, you cannot try out multiple things at once and expect the same result. So of course, the energy level you put, the effort you put will differ, mainly due to time constraints and stuff. So that's also there. When we say when we can do anything, we have to be a little mindful about that as well. If we go to do everything at once, then we might end up
not doing anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
Anyone else has anything to clarify? We'll move on to the next. Okay. So like we were talking about competition now, like we just touched base a bit on the competition. So something I would want to say is now with what's going on, like again, I'm reminding about the situation with what's going on. Like most of us here, I think everyone in the audience, most of us here are undergraduate students and people joining like newly interns and stuff like that. So even myself personally, I've been to my university, like my degree is for 3 years. I've been to my university physically just for 1 year. And I'm sure most of the audience here, they have actually started their higher education from this learning from the online classes sort of thing. So what I'm trying to say is that now when I was in a lecture hall full of 200 students, I was kind of motivated. I mean, it's the same with everyone. We were like kind of motivated to work hard. And like when we see other people answering questions, going ahead and speaking in front, we also had that motivation to do so. But now it's totally different. So I mean, like, is this demotivation kind of going to change the way of people, how people's mindset is going to work, and how could we overcome this? So I would like to start with either Mr. Bharatha.
All right, so we have the same issue in the workplace as well, Joshua. So it has been 1.5 years we went to office. That's what I said, we are missing good old times. So first of all, we need to accept the fact, yes, we miss it. We miss the human interaction. So we miss that touch with people, right? We miss the the interactions we have had with them and all that. So we have to accept that. No point saying, okay, we don't miss it. We are in a virtual environment. We can connect. No, we miss it, right? We have to start from there because you can't lie to your own mind. Having said that, now this brings us to another opportunity. Now let's say those days in the world, like, who survived strongest? Surviving because you have to hunt, right? But now it's not the strongest who would survive. Vadima agile manusya, vadima adapt වෙන්න පුළුවන් මනුස්සයා තමයි will survive. All right, that's why even in corporates, when they're evaluating people, they look at agilities, learning agility, people agility. Likewise, so we talk about 5 agilities in Nestlé, so no need to go there. But what I want to say is, whether you like it or not, you have to be agile and you have to adapt. Why dinosaurs died? They couldn't adapt. That's why our mind is this powerful, right? We have to accept the fact that we are in a tough situation. And also, we need to see that we are overcoming this problem. It's not going to be forever. Nothing is there forever. And the best way you could do in Sri Lanka, don't watch news. That's my piece of advice to you. Fahad, would you agree with me? I mean, yeah. So because Fahad, what do you hear in news? Like you will hear this many people died. There's been a rape case, right? Somebody has been theft, right? And somebody has stolen money. Now today at 7 o'clock, you listen to your news. Negative feelings. When did we ever tell something has been innovated by someone? How much time we allocate for that? And when was the last time we sort of brought in new subjects for our curriculums in terms of the school education? So there's no positive news you are going to hear from the news. So just for at least for next 6 months, don't watch news. Whatever you need to know, you will get it through a text message or through a WhatsApp message, because we are that connected. I mean, this is a request more than an advice. Just don't watch news. Like, it's not going to do anything good. Only positive thing you will hear is this many vaccines given today, right? Trust me, that's the only good news you're going to hear. Or else we would have taken a loan from somewhere, so, so it's not the best. Yeah,
Actually.
Right? So that's one advice. I'll go to Fahad and then, can you a few more?
Agree, 3000% I agree. Let me answer your question this way, Joshua. You're in Colombo and you want to travel to Jaffna, okay? The easiest way to travel is if you have a vehicle, if you have food to go along the way, you have a bunch of people to go with, it'll make this journey easier. Because human beings are social creatures, we like comfort, we like all these things, right? But the reality is, we're in Colombo, we need to travel, example, Jaffna. Vahane naha then. Apit කියන set එක නැහැ. යන ගමන් කන්න කඩජෝරු නැහැ. But you can still go, right? You can still go. It's just harder, right? Because වටේ කට්ටිය නැහැ. අර social aspect එක නැහැ. ඒ ටික නැහැ තමයි. Of course, it's bloody harder. ඒ ගමන තාම යන්න පුළුවන්. What irritates me is that there are some people who are like, මේවා හින්දා මේක බෑනේ දැන්. යකෝ බෑ නෙමෙයි දැන් ඊට වඩා අමාරුයි. ඒත් පුළුවන්. බෑ නෙමෙයි. It's difficult. Like you miss that. අර set එක you miss. Office එකේ ගිහිල්ලා අර හවසට තේක ගහන එක you miss. And that's a human feeling. It's a shit feeling, right? But that doesn't mean it's impossible. And that's one of the things that I'd like to tell people, like, dude, a big part of my work is interacting with people. And when that's taken away, when I'm doing sessions virtually, that feel is not there. It doesn't exist, right? The crowd vibe, that energy, that it's not there. And that's like, dude, that's like 60% of my game. It doesn't exist anymore. So what do I do? We got to figure out ways to go the journey to the best way. And I think that's exactly what Bharatha is also saying, in the sense that the journey still has to be gone, even though now the journey is more difficult. Nikan sapattu ekka යන්න පුළුවන් දැන් sapattu නැහැ. ගල් කටු ඇණි යන්න ඕනේ, right? It's not pleasant, but we still have to go, because humanity will only survive if we keep moving. We can't be stagnant. We have to keep moving. Moving sometimes isn't comfortable. Uncomfortable moving. මාතකේ යන්න කට්ටිය නැහැ. අර social aspect එක. All these things පහසුකම් නැහැ. ඒත් යන්න ඕනේ ඉතින්. නැත්නම් ඉතින් එක තැන හිර වෙලා ගුහාවේ ඉන්න එකේ is where we'll be stuck. Is what I think.
Yeah, true. It's basically life has to go on, whatever said and done.
Joshua,
yes.
Just to add one more thing there. Now we already have a winning mindset, right? I mean, we have a winner within us. There have been 4.5 million people died from COVID virus, but still we are here until today, touch wood, right? So we are a winner. There itself we have won up to now. So let's get through this battle. So what's the most important thing? The other thing is gratitude, valuing what you have already, right? So when you start having gratitude, life will bring you a lot of things, right? So we are not in the worst possible scenario in this country. Still we can recover. I think vaccination is going well. So we hope that we could do these sessions physically, probably within 5-6 months at least. So the signs are good. So you have to change the way you see things, right? So this allows people more time with their families, more time to learn. And remember, now you don't see the competition in front of you, but you will see it suddenly. Probably another 1.5 years, your friends would come with all the professional qualifications and diplomas, online courses, Power BI, big data, everything, and you will be clueless, right? So take this opportunity to learn. You have time, right? Now you have time, because the time we used to travel is not there anymore, right? So you can't go to your friend's place and sing a song and have fun and come back. So that time is again, you don't get it now. So utilize it to sharpen your axe, right? And the perception. Now let's say when we had only 18 COVID cases, we closed the country initially, right? Now we have 3,000 cases a day, but still we don't want to close. So perception changes. It's a journey, right? So two advices again: keep learning, keep learning new things, because you don't see the competition. I don't know who asked this question. It's very valid. Now you don't see the competition, but it will eventually come out, right? It will come out, but it's not visible now. That's true. So that's one threat you have, I could say. And again, have gratitude and be thankful for whatever you have at this point.
Yeah, that's actually like I was going ahead about touching on to that only. Like, we don't see the competition. Like that's what I was saying. Like, we were in a lecture halls, we see people, they are doing good. Oh shit, we also have to up our game. Then we think, okay, we have to do better. But now that's not there. We think, okay, people are there, about 200 people attending the lecture. Okay, I'm also attending the lecture. Okay, I'm going to get my degree. All good. But now it's entirely different. So yeah, actually that answers our question. That it's that we have to use this time actually and prepare ourselves for whatever happens. And like Fahad said, life has to go on. So and yeah.
So you can prepare for whatever is coming ahead. Now let's say if you want to go trips and all, you can at least start playing the guitar and be prepared for it.
Like
okay?
you.
So when you have the time, you can just pick up the guitar and go with your friends. Yeah. So be prepared, be hopeful. That's what keeps us going. Yeah.
So now we know the secret why you have started to learn guitar. So yeah. So another thing yes, Mr. Bharat. You were going to say something. Mr. Bharat, all good? Okay. So
I was just going to ask Bharatha where he's going on his next trip, somewhere in Belihula with a beautiful waterfall.
Probably we might go to Kitulgala for next
Nice,
right? Nabulla.
Of course.
He used to walk us the entire day. Like, my God, it was so hectic. Like,
this is that outbound training you were talking about earlier, right?
Yes. So we got into the bus at 2:00 from our office, and then we went to Dambul at around 7. Then we thought, okay, now we are going to relax a bit, and he just gave us 15 minutes to have breakfast, and we had to cycle for good 10 kilometers. My God, like the entire day it's been so eventful. Good times.
Memories though, right? Memories.
All right.
Yes.
Good.
So yeah, great things going ahead. So one thing we were earlier talking about is how people criticize things and stuff like that. So what I want to direct my next question is that we most of us, whenever something is being implemented newly, when something new, some change is coming, even on the news when they go and say that, okay, we are going to implement this, there is about 150 people backing that, saying that, trying to blame it. So even us graduates, undergraduates, I mean, even I have done that. So whenever these online lectures are going on, whenever there is an online exam, we have this tendency to criticize on it, like say, make a hariyan nahi, make make a online submit karanne, and all this. We have about 150 criticism, like we have something to blame about. So like how how can we like actually how can we lose this perception? How can certain people lose this perception? Because you have to find the good in something actually. So Mr. Fahad, yeah.
I'm sorry, Joshua, my connection is a bit bad. So your question is the negative perceptions. Could you just rephrase it, please?
Yeah. So yeah, negative person. Like now what I was saying is that I was using myself as an example. Like whenever there is an online exam or an online lecture, we have around 150 explanations, 150 blames to be said against it, saying that අපිට මේ කොහොමද අපිට submit කරන්න පැතුනේ paper එක කොහොමද submit කරන්නේ online කරන්නේ මේ connection යනවා this and that, and I think we have a number of reasons, we have a number of criticisms. So that's something we all have been doing. Even when something on the news goes on, some new implementation goes on, there's always a blame game. There's a huge blame game going. So how can we actually, this negative perception, how can we bring about?
Let me answer the question this way, right? අපි ඔක්කොම in our life, when we're working in a group, අපි යම් කිසි අවස්ථාවකදී we have submitted an idea to a group, right? Where you are the origin. In that situation, you are thinking of all the reasons why something will work. Then tama idea එකක් දුන්නාම මේක වැඩ කරන්න මේ හේතු කියනවා. වටේ පිටේ when people give you reasons why it won't work, ඔව් හැබැයි කියලා අපි ඒක ගොඩ දාලා මොකක් හරි විදියකින් you are so invested in your idea or thought that you keep saying, okay, this is going to work because of these things. Reverse that. Somebody else gives an idea, unless තමාගේ බුදු බොක්කක් නෙමෙයි නම්, you always like, ඕක වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ, ඕක හරියන්නේ නැහැ, because we always look at it in terms of a good idea but කියලා අපි ඒක down කරනවා, right? And I think that comes down to how many roads are there to go to a destination, right? If we look at going to a destination as one road, ඒකේ මාර්ග බාධක තියෙයි. Of course. එච්චර පහසු නෑනේ. පහසු නම් හැමෝම කරනවා ඉතින්. හැමෝම කරලා ගොඩ දාලා හැමෝම ජයගෙන ඉඳී ඉතින්. If it was easy, everybody would take that road and travel it and do it. But it's not, man. It's bloody hard. So sometimes you go in the road and there is a block. There is a practical connection problem. There is a practical problem. And then you've got to figure out a way to go around it. හැබැයි ඒ figure out කරන්න, if you are in the මානසික මං කිව්වේ මේක වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා, මං කිව්වේ මේක කෙලවෙනවා කියලා, then all your energy is on pointing out why this won't work, versus where is your energy on finding a way to make it work, right? Now if this is one of your origin ideas, if an obstacle comes, your energy goes into අපි විදිහක් හොයාගමු, right? If it's somebody else's idea and you're like doing it බාගෙට මං කිව්වේ මේක වැඩ කරන්නේ, your energy goes to blame. So where is your mental energy being put? Because no doubt, shit is hard. Shit is really hard, and everybody doesn't have it equal. Samara account internet connection superior. Samara account Google homepage load karanna bෑ. But they are both expected to submit the same assignment. That's bloody unfair. කාට බනින්නද? කාට කියන්නද? ගෙවල් මාරු කරන්නද? Dialogue එක you can't do that, right? But you got to figure out a way, man. You got to figure out a way, because the finish line is not going to move forward just for you. The finish line will be there. It's that now you have more bloody hurdles to jump. අරුට hurdle දෙකයි, උඹට hurdle 12ක් තියෙනවා. Same finish line. Is it fair? No. Is it equal? No. But the mentality, යකෝ හරි ඌට දෙකයි මට 12යි, මමයි 12ම පනිනවා. In සමහරක් විට මට කෙලෙවේ. But it's about focusing that way. But what we are doing right now is spending that mental energy comparing. යකෝ අරුට hurdle දෙකයි මට hurdle 12යි, කවුරු හරි මොකක් හරි කරා. Nobody is coming to do anything for you, right? අපිව බේරන්න කවුරුත් එන්නේ නැහැ. අපිව ගොඩ දාන්න කවුරුත් එන්නේ නැහැ. තමා විතරයි. Get that into our heads. That's really bloody important. Just because we complain and point fingers, nobody's coming to save us. So the energy that goes into pointing out this shit, put it into conquering this shit, is what I think.
Actually, yeah. Actually, very true. And Mr. Bharat, I think you also would have faced certain like, you also would have had this kind of experiences where people actually come in the workplace also, where people keep on complaining about stuff, complaining about this and that. So what do you think about this?
Yeah. So I do call it complaint. I've received feedback, so I take it as feedback. It's good in a way. I mean, it gets us thinking whether we can improve further, right? If you are complaining about something just for sake of complaining, then you're a loser. You're a big time loser, right? Because you know there is no other option, and you just keep on complaining because you are complacent to do the work, right? On the other hand, if you are complaining because you see a possible answer, then that's okay. That's how I see it. I mean, through these complaints, if that person gets himself or the other person to think through and get a better solution out, then that's fine, right? So I call this a feedback culture, right? If we in Sri Lanka we don't have feedback culture. Mostly in even during our school times, we just had to listen to what our teachers say. You can't challenge them. We don't challenge them. They will think that it's a disrespect, right? But new generation is changing their games. I have a lot of hope in them because they keep challenging the status quo and how things we have been doing throughout. So complaining is good in that sense, and I totally agree with Fahad again. Energy is money. So you have energy. Where do you invest it? Right? So now let's imagine you have money, and if you invest in a shitty business, what will happen? You'll get bankrupt, right? Similarly, if you invest your energy in an unnecessary thing, right, you won't get the expected result. And your machine can't run forever. It will stop one day. So it's up to you to decide where you want to head, like your journey, whether you want to go to Jaffna or you want to go to Nabulla. And halfway through, you will stop if you don't have enough energy. So be cautious where you put your energy, where you invest energy. Energy is money for me.
I mean, like, that's actually true. Like both of you said, like, I think then putting your energy into fighting the player, trying to criticize, it's good if you can try to find the solution because I think for whatever, because then I think even in the country, even this much of problems won't come if people actually put their mind into stop criticizing and finding the solution. So yeah, and I think we've spoken a lot here, and like I think audience, if you guys have anything to ask, like anything to clarify, any problems you can relate to with whatever we've spoken, like I'm sure most of you can relate to whatever we are to what we are speaking now, and you guys would have real life incidents regarding this. So please come out and you can unmute and say, or even you can leave it in the chat box. So yeah, this time is for you all.
Yeah, I would like to tell something. So I'm just saying, like, you may have people in your life, right, who support you, but at the end of the day, it's just you. You are the person who's graduating. You are the person who's going for a job. You won't see other friends. So just wanted to point out that as speaker Fahad, right? You told that at the end of the day, we have only us. We can have throughout our journey, we can have our people, have friends, family, everything. But at the end of the day, you are the one who's getting the final result of your hard work, not anyone else, right?
Very true.
Yeah, just want to say.
Absolutely 100% agree with you, Vibhuda. I mean, it's a sad story, but we're social creatures, but sometimes we have to accept the fact that some journeys we go alone, and that's the truth.
Anyone else actually has anything to say, anything to relate to this? Actually, like if we could come to a common grounds and with something related to what they are speaking. Okay, so with the time constraints, so I'll move on to like the latter part of our discussion. So now we've been talking about the positive mindset and certain aspects. various aspects which revolve around this positive mindset. So there is this other thing which kind of motivates us. It's called the competitive mindset, like having a competitive mindset. So actually, how can we build up to a competitive mindset? Because I think that would be something which would make us do better in maybe academics or professions. So I would like to first ask Mr. Fahad, and then Mr. Bharatha can follow up.
I am not a big, like, when we use the word competitive, in that word itself, we are benchmarking against others, right? Because competition in itself means me versus somebody else. So which is why I don't like this competitive mindset kind of word. It's like a different scene, right? So if you can speak about to yourself, right? If you can talk about competition as beating my best, trying to do better than I did kind of sense, that competitive mindset, I'm on board with it. It's basically, to put it very simply, if you, there are two ways you can choose to live now. One is the content part. I don't need to do anything. There's nothing wrong with that way of living. The other way of living is the aspirational path. What are the things I need to do? What do I need to improve on? Right? So choose your path first. Are you in the things are smooth? I don't need to stress. Business as usual path, fine. Other path is I still have to achieve, I still have to attain, I still have to prove, I still have to grow. In that path, make sure that you have a certain sense of awareness and you're striving for continuous improvement. Don't assume improvement will come with time. That's the Sri Lankan government office mentality. Promotion, right? It's bullshit, right? What have you done? Nothing. You've just been here. So if you're in that aspirational growth stage mindset, then figure out what are your steps, what are your goals, what are your mid to short term goals. Eva map karagana, eva conquer karanna. Right? Don't just assume so decide first. Are you in the business as usual path? Are you in the let me accomplish something path? If you are in the accomplish growth, continuous improvement path, what are your milestones? Anithung yana speed එක අදාළ නැහැ ඒ උන්ගේ පාර. මගේ ස්පීඩ් එක මොකද්ද? මගේ පාත් එක මොකද්ද? මගේ obstacles මොකද්ද? Kind of thing is what I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's actually very well put onto that. So thank you for clearing out that. And yes, Mr. Bharatha, if you have anything to add towards it.
So by nature, we are competitive, right? I mean, as humans, from birth to now, we are competitive. But again, like now we discussed few minutes ago, your limit will be defined by yourself. You are the one who is going to define your limit. So you have a competition with yourself, not with anyone else. If you want to copy someone else, yes, you have a competition because you want to be better than him in what he does. But if you're an exceptional character, if you want to do something unique, you have no competition with anyone, right? It's a very, I would say, bad mindset to have. We don't compete with anyone. We do things better than everyone else because we want to become the better versions of ourselves, right? We have the competition with us. Bharatha has the competition with Bharatha, his previous version. Fahad has competition with his previous version, not with anyone else, right? So that's how I think about it. Maybe a little different, so yeah.
Yeah, actually, I mean that's because now we've been talking about positive mindset, and I think that's actually a good thing that we have to for us to have this positive, to have this winning. I think it's supposed to be with us, and if we go to involve all this other competition and everything, I don't think so. We'll be then later gaining our goal. It will be like we'll be trying to put the other person down and stuff like that. So yeah, and another thing,
and just see what happened to people who follow the competitive nature, right? So companies like Apple, they never had competition. They tried their own unique thing. That's why they were successful. So whenever you follow the competition, it's just going to be for some time, and you will vanish, right? Do something unique. I mean, competition is with yourself. That's for me. That's what it is.
I'm just going to add, I completely agree 100% with Bharatha said. I'm just going to add a small part. So, as a corporate trainer, we're constantly trying to do things that are different to others, right? Because it's a very crowded space in a sense. And even with things that I'm sure that Nestlé does, Bharat will also agree. When you introduce something new, somebody will also introduce it, right? So it's always a very mamagara outkara, right? So there's two ways. Yako mokadda me ape එක copy කරන්න, ඒ මෙහෙම කරන්න. No. හරි ඔබ වරෙන් මම තව එකක් කරන්න. You keep catching up. මම තව එකක් කරන්න. And that's the mentality, right? That's the mentality. I am introducing an innovation not to sit on it for a while. I'll wait till you guys catch up. Okay, you caught up. Great. I'm at the next innovation. That's the mentality. Now that's competing with oneself, right? Your competition can catch up. That's great because they will, they should. That's how you push yourself. Like I've seen people who have been like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. They should do it. That's when you know, dude, this ain't easy. Elevate, push, elevate, push. And that's how you got to look at it, right? You can never settle.
And up your game, keep on. I think it's something to remind you to up your game, keep on moving, going ahead. Yeah. So I'll be moving on to the last question. Before that, I would want to ask the audience, like, if you guys have any questions you want me to direct, you can please post it in the chat box, or please unmute yourself and ask. I think with some positive mindset you have gained now, please do unmute and ask a question if you all have any. Yes. And also, so moving on to the last question. So we've spoken about how people are, how people criticize our stuff, and we spoke about the competition now. And also another thing is now people are now, we most of us undergraduates, now we have come now, like we said earlier, during the situation and stuff like that, we are in a stage of life where we want this to end and we want this to finish. So we, like I said earlier, we keep blaming people, blaming the government, blaming our universities for bringing us here, like for whatever is going on. And we are kind of not like, there are people like who aren't very much motivated when they are doing stuff. They say degree ikmat ivara karla yන්න ඕනේ, ikmat pass karla යන්න ඕනේ, රට දාලා යන්න ඕනේ. Like people keep saying stuff like this. So I mean, how can a person like think of what's happening with what they're doing at the moment, actually find a positivity in what they're doing at the moment, than just thinking about the future, like not living in the present, thinking about the future.
Joshua, if you don't mind, can you little simplify the question? I mean, I've been listening for a while.
Exactly. I'm also trying to understand Joshua's question.
Yes.
Trying to understand this question.
Yes, I was trying to just pull in from everything you said and just give out the last question. So yeah, I'll simplify it again. So what I'm saying is, now people actually, now we spoke about negativity, like people try to blame, they have this blame game and everything. But there is another thing that people are actually now, they have this sense of a responsibility that they have to do a degree. They have to do a degree once they're done with their primary education, that they have to do a degree. Okay, they do the degree. Okay, now I have to go on to doing a job. But actually they are not motivated in what they're doing. They're doing it because the society requires them to do it, but they are not motivated in doing whatever subject, maybe be it management or whatever thing. They be like, okay, I just have to do this. I'm going to leave the country. So all of that is going to be sorted. So kind of that perception, how can a person like overcome that perception? Is it simplified?
Bharat, over to you.
Yeah, so now I think if there are lecturers here now, they're going to get mad at me for saying this. Getting a degree won't get you a job these days. No way, right? We are producing 35,000 graduates, fresh graduates every year. Okay, now we are going to do a small calculation. Get your phone, divide 35,000, right? Divide 35,000 by 365, right? How much it is? 365. It's 95 odd, right? It's 95. If you are to get a job after the first year of your graduation, Sri Lanka needs to produce 95 new jobs a day to give you jobs. Go to top jobs, go to observer jobs, any jobs. Well, like you go to LinkedIn, anywhere. Do you see 95 new jobs in Sri Lanka for graduates? So your degree is not going to give you a job. We got 4,000 odd applications for management training program. We took only 4. There you have your equation. 4,000, 4 people, right? This is going to get worse because all the management training batches will be taken next year or year after. So what will happen to people who are at home now? They'll also apply, right? So, and the only way you will stand a chance is either you have to be unique or you have to see what will be required at that stage. Now you are in 2021, right? Maybe you guys are first years or second years. Joshua, are you first?
I'm a third year.
Third year. Okay.
Also, yeah.
Especially in second years and first years have to be mindful because you are leaving the university in 2025. So what's required in 2025 can be totally different to what you are learning right now, right? So you have to analyze prefrontal cortex, as I said, use your mind, right? Analyze what are the new trends in the world. What's the demand in 5 years, not now, right? Sorry for making you guys feel scared about it. I don't want to create that, negativity, but having said that, I'll give you good news. So we are coming up with the Buost City project also, right? If it's a successful project, you will have enough and more opportunities because a lot of multinationals going to come, right? There are going to be a lot of jobs. So that's a positive, we have one as a country, and also there will be a lot of opportunities through the corporate companies like Nestlé to whatever the big multinationals. And because we have been going on a very strict headcount budget for these years because the times are tough. So when we open the borders and when we start operating normally, there will be a huge opportunity also. But having said that, your degree is not going to get you a job. I can assure that, right? Communication skills and other professional qualifications maybe. And mostly we want people to get on board and start working right away, right? So we don't have enough time for you to get you to settle. Like definitely we will help you bringing trainers like Fahad and we will help you to develop yourself, but you have to be agile. That's what I said. So I'm sorry if I disturbed you. That's the truth.
No, actually that's good because we also know the real situation. We then, like you said, we can actually prepare ourselves and actually, like you said earlier in your speech, is also to adapt, basically adapt. So yes, Fahad, yeah.
Man, Bharatha, I think you hit the nail on the head with those numbers. Like 4,000 versus 4, dude. That's in your face. You like, because that's reality, right? And a lot of things Sri Lankans assume. I don't know if it's Sri Lankans, but students assume is that because we go through a lot to get our qualification, we assume that suffering equates, we assume that the world knows we've gone through so much and we assume that the world is going to give us something because of it. But the harsh reality is that we go through this, but nobody else cares. We go through it and we're just another face, we're just another application, we're just another CV, right? And in that stage, there's something that we miss is that personality is going to get you far. Personality traits is going to stand you a chance. Those softer skills you don't often look at might push you ahead. So exactly echoing what Bharatha said in the sense of, understand, preempt what's going to be needed in 3 years, 4 years, preempt that, prepare for that. And part of that is identifying ways in which to mold your personality or mold yourself. If you like, for example, I'll give you a very simple example and something that you guys will probably relate to. You get to apply to a job because you have the qualification, right? That means everybody who applies has the same qualification. So then what gets you past that? Is it your qualification? No, dude, it's not your qualification. So what gets you past that? Is there's this other traits, the other things you've done, your personality, how you sell yourself, how you pitch yourself. That's what gets you past that, right? So we've got to start thinking in terms of how do I define myself differently? How do I pitch myself differently? How do I show myself differently? How do I make myself relevant to the time? How do I make myself relevant to the market? And these are not easy things, right? These are hard things. These are difficult things. These are not things that we're supposed to be doing, but guess what, dude? The world starts that we have to be doing these things. And that's the sad reality of the situation. So in that sense, I think it's about, don't just ride the ride and think when I get off the ride, a job will be there. While you're riding the ride, see how much extra shit you can put onto yourself. So when you get off, you're like bloody attractive, like amma to say type of thing. Like, make sure that you're that person. Rather than hari mamme giya, mam best them job deepan, not that, right? Mam behala inne mama mage life purole inne mage diya baranna. Make sure you're that person.
I just went through my mailbox, Yahoo mailbox. I don't use it much now, but I joined corporate in 2015. I have applied for 65 jobs at that time, and only I think I got 2 calls. One I got selected. So this was 6 years back, and that was my case. I'm being very humble. I mean, I'm being very open with you because at no point lying. I shouldn't tell, okay, everyone was looking for me. No chance. Right? I applied. And so after 65 applications, I got to Nestlé for an internship. That's not a job was. Right? So that's where you are going.
I think that would be the best practical example for having a winning mindset, actually. I mean, applying for 65 jobs and like going in 60, I think, okay, I'm not getting called, but then you would eventually you will make it. So I think that there is a really great example for having a winning mindset.
And yes, also that managing energy part. Now, when I go through my CV, even I wouldn't hire myself if I receive this CV. It's horrible. So there's a funny photo in the CV. I can't show it to you. It's ridiculous, but they would have felt, okay, who is this guy, right? So that's what I said. It's not only the degree, right? You have to have your interpersonal skills, and you have to know where to pitch, right? Where to pitch and where you would suit. So having that understanding also very important, and doing such initiatives like Rotaract clubs and being part of societies, this will get you to have contacts, right? So Joshua, if you're applying for Nestlé next time, if I meet you, I'll be knowing you, right? Networking.
Yeah.
I know how you operate. I know how Andrea operates, right? So likewise, build network. That will give you more chances of getting a job, right? And also you should know where to pitch and how do you brand yourself, right? You are a brand. You have a price tag. That's why you said my salary. You say that my salary expectation is this. You have a price tag, so you have to justify that, right? So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Bal. I think we've come to the end of our session, and we've spoken a lot. There is a good amount of things that all of you would have gained from here, because there was a really different shifts in paradigms when we're talking about this winning mindset. And I'm sure if anyone has any questions, this is your time for y'all to open up and direct your questions towards our speakers.
Yes, so I have a question. So if you are in a team where the teamwork is zero, how can you have an individual winning mindset? That's my question.
The question was
individual.
when you are
Last part wasn't clear. Was it clear for you?
Yes. So if you're in a team where the teamwork is not that good, how can you have an individual winning mindset? A individual winning mindset.
That who was it, Tulani? I'll try to answer that,
Yeah.
Tulani. So I work a lot with university students, vocational training authority students, and stuff like that. And this is a common thing. That let's take a group project for an example, like simple example, like group project. There are like maybe two people who are doing a majority of the work, and the rest of the people like, whatever. Kind of mentality, right? So I'm going to take that practical example and specifically that and answer it. You've got to understand what you want to achieve from the outcome. Okay, so it might be the case that let's take that assignment or project example, that you do 100% of the work or 95% of the work, but others get a part of the credit. Okay, that is a sad reality, and you will have to accept that. But if you don't put in that work, it will be that those others don't get whatever, that doesn't matter, but it also means that you also don't get something. Okay, so the way I look at it is, we are all supposed to do it, but others are not doing it. If I'm also like them, then we will all get nothing. Okay, but if I do it, they will get something and I will also get something. Am I bitter about the fact that they also got something? Yeah, sure, because they didn't do shit, but they got something. But the fact of the matter is, after you leave campus and you go out into the world and you start to do things, those things don't matter. Whether they got it or not doesn't matter. All that matters is that you got whatever. Okay, is it bitter? Yeah. Is it unfair? Yeah, but that's what the world is. So to answer your question is not about, hey, what are we supposed to do in that very specific context, in that very specific campus group project context. Is not, are we supposed to do? It's like, what do I want out of this? Okay, now flip it to the corporate world. This narrative changes. There, it's not about assignments. It's about achieving a goal together. Okay, in that sense, if everybody else is not on board, then your job is to sell the dream to them, to make them realize, hey dude, we need to do this. Finding common goals, finding common areas of interest, finding ways that everybody is aligned to this common goal. In a campus sense, you can try, maybe they will be, maybe they won't be, because there is a specific end goal, right? Samara kattirone make ඉවර කරන්න. සමහරක් කට්ටියට ඕනේ assignment එක shape එකේ ගොඩ දාන්න. සමහරක් කට්ටියට ඕනේ නිකන් මේක pass වෙන්න. So the goals are different there. In a corporate sense, you have more leeway, more leverage to push it. We're a collective team, we're a unit, and we need to combine ourselves to get to this goal. So it's two different realms, right? Mega loka dekak. And we need to look at it in both ways. But the way to look at it is, what am I trying to achieve? Campus level project I just want to pass this. Let me do everything I need to do to pass this. Part of it is pulling their weight. Corporate world is not like that, right? It's about how do we collectively gather everybody together? What can you do to share a common goal, create an enabling environment for them to get there? I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone? Yeah.
I mean, not taking much time. So as Fahad said, this is a very common situation in corporate world. So most of the times we talk to trainers and say, okay, we lack teamwork in this team. We lack teamwork in that team. Can you do something? We want to build that collaborative mindset. We want to bring the team together. So because, especially in corporates, you don't win individually. Even a cricket match, doesn't matter how talented you are not going to win individually. That's where your leadership style would come out, right? Usually people are motivated to work for you when they see the purpose and when they see what's in it for them, right? So those are the two tips I could give you in terms of motivating them and getting them on board. And having said that, doesn't matter whether you are the best in the world, if you don't handle your team, manage your team, drive your team towards the same goal, you're not going to be successful in terms of a project or in corporate. That's why leaders get paid much more than their team members, right? Not me,
Yes.
I was referring to leaders.
Thank you
So
again.
yeah, okay, and thank you Tilda, for your question. And yes, anyone else? We have time for the last question, maybe. Yeah. So somebody has asked a question. So we have Malsha asking a question. He has dropped in the chat box. So he has said that competition is said to bring out better results by some. However, some of us were brought up believing that comparing ourselves to others is not the way to strive for success. Some of us think that our only competition is actually our past selves. What are your thoughts about this? Shall I repeat it?
I mean,
So,
Fahad, you are clear with the question or you want to repeat?
Repeat would be great, please.
yeah.
Sure. Go ahead,
So
Joshua.
he says that competition is said to bring out better results by some. However, some of us were brought up believing that comparing ourselves to others is not the way to strive for success. Some of us think that our only way of competition is actually our past selves. What are your thoughts about this, regarding this? Yes, Mr. Bharat.
So that's the issue with this culture where we live in. We've been already told, we have been always compared with someone else from our childhood. You have to be better than this guy. You have to be better than this one. That's why we don't come up with something new. That's why we don't do innovations as a nation. That's where our biggest problem is, because we always compare with someone and we want to copy the exact same thing and to do it better than him, right? And you are not being encouraged to unleash your potential. You have to copy someone else, right? And be better what he's good at, not what you like. That's why our parents want us to become engineers, doctors, accountants, lawyers, pilots. Those are the 5 things we wanted to become. Even I was the same, right? If I knew about Bitcoin and stuff, I would have invested all my time on that, or else in big data or whatever. If I knew this, I would have invested my time on that. I would have become a billionaire now, right? Unfortunately, I was in the same boat as you, and now trying to find out new opportunities and try out new things. So see, again, comparison is good, benchmarking is good, but if you are just going to do something someone else has already done, I mean, that wouldn't create a wow effect. You can be better at it, but it wouldn't give you the competitive advantage.
Building on what Bharatha said, see, I'm sure we can all remember when we were younger, me ugata, our prize dinapu eka, shishwatta panti udimma hitapu eka, panti hameleme eka vela hitapu eka. We can remember this dude, right? And there's a reason. Podi kale, our parents started by saying, "Puta, ayyo at arabaga khanda veri, kondu babana kala pennan, areyavage kala pennan." අයිවාට අරය වගේ මේක විතරද අරය වගේ අරකේ ලකුණු ගන්න බැරි, right? We start comparing. From our small days, our system is such that we are compared to some other rando dude who doesn't know our context, who doesn't know our shit, but our parents are comparing us because our parents do it with love. They assume that's the way to motivate us. They couldn't be further from the truth, right? Because that's like one of the worst. They're doing it with the best intentions. It's one of the worst techniques because we grew up with a lot of lot of chips on our shoulder. Like, holy shit, I'm not good enough. Right? You might have had those friends who came over to your house and you were friends with them, but your parents ended up comparing you to those friends. බලන්න අරයා හොඳයි නෑ මේ ඔක්කොම කරනවා but you're like holy shit dude, like we're different people. In that sense, it's two things, right? Assess the competition to know where you are. මම කොහෙද ඉන්නේ, that's important, awareness. But set your benchmark compared to where you are, right? You need to know where you are. Finish line is there are people scattered everywhere, I'm here. That's awareness. Where should I be next is not dependent on where the others are, it's where I am at. But have the awareness. The problem is අද කාලෙක මේ ඔක්කොම mix කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අරු ඉන්න තැනයි මම යනකොට තැනයි finish line එක ඔක්කොම mix කරලා එක කොත්තුවක් දාලා අපි නිකන් කෙල වෙලා ඉන්නේ. හෑ ගාලා demotivate වෙලා කෙල වෙලා ඉන්නේ, right? So it's two things. Competition is relevant for awareness, but growth is dependent on where you currently are, is what I think.
Yeah, actually, very well put. Even somebody actually was asking that question, like about how whether you can measure yourself while competing with somebody else. But now you answered it, so yeah, thank you for both of your great explanations and clarification on this question. It's something because everyone's been thinking about. Yes, Mr.
Okay, I'll keep it for last. Like before you wind up, just give me 1 minute. That's it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So somebody has asked a question, so saying that some people's mindset. Yeah. So what he's saying is that some people's mindset is not to work for a company. Their mindset is to be their own boss. So what's your opinion on this?
So in that case, we have to compare it with working for a corporate or becoming an entrepreneur. Is that the comparison?
That's the question. Yeah.
Again, it's up to you. Are you going to look at the safer option, or you are going to try out something unique? So high risk, high gain. Depends on you. As I said, I love being my own boss as a person. Again, if I'm to try out that, there's a lot of risk involved, especially in a volatile environment as ours, right? So I don't want to kill that young man's passion. I wish him all the very best and keep up that attitude. There's nothing wrong with it. You can be your own boss, and whatever you do, you be the best at it. Like then people start valuing you, people start looking for you, people will need you in their team. So be good at whatever you are doing. And if you want to become your own boss, Fahad is also doing something by his own. So it's very good. That's where you should be. That's your passion, that's your dream. If you don't live in your dream, if you don't follow your dream, you can't expect someone else to live in your dream. So that's perfectly fine.
My input on that question is that so I have a story that's similar to Bharatha's, but it's a little bit, it's not as glamorous. So I finished CIMA, and fresh off CIMA, I decided to go apply for jobs, right? And that time I hadn't done any extracurricular things. I was just CIMA, that's all, right? And I had finished London ALs. I had an A, B, and a C. And I went for interviews at all these companies, like John Keel's. I went to Nestlé. I went to Commercial Bank. I went to all these places. I never got a call back. And at the interviews, I couldn't say I was a shit candidate. And at that time, I realized that I felt hopeless, right? I felt really hopeless. And in that stage, I joined an ad agency. And in that ad agency, I was doing this, client servicing kind of thing. And then people asked me, like, you're CIMA, why are you doing this? And I was like, in reality, nobody was calling me back, right? Then I joined a training company, and that changed something, right? So I discovered a different realm of how my brain works. And that was that I was able to connect dots. I was able to conceptualize, I was able to put people together. So now this meant that I didn't fit in the corporate world because that wasn't my vibe, right? I couldn't be in there, but I could facilitate things for them. Okay. Now, fast forward to COVID. My job is at a higher risk than having a guaranteed salary. It's a higher risk, like way higher risk. Because people who have a guaranteed salary are also at risk, right? They are also at risk. They are at risk, and people who are running their own gig are at a higher risk. Now, in that sense, what I understood is, like Bharat said, higher risk, higher return, right? So my income is more than if I would have been at a corporate job, but the risk is also higher now. Now, in this situation, their security is a little bit better, not a lot, a little bit better than me, right? So, in this sense, what we've got to learn is if you're going to run your own thing, you can't just rely on it. You've got to diversify, right? You've got to do multiple of those things so that make a kelonot, make metherin input at make not make a thing. So when I started out, it was training, it was comparing, it was speaking, it was consulting. I played in a band for a while. I did photography, I did graphic design, I did a whole bunch of stuff until I figured out, okay, make a Haryana, okay, this is my track. Even in this track, I've diversified, right? So if you take normal circumstances, when it becomes to like December, April, corporate training is less, but events increase. So my revenue is okay. 1st of January, that kind of peak, events are less, but training increases, right? End of March, events are less, training increase. So I've diversified my portfolio so that it matches, right? So I think the problem that entrepreneurs or people who want to do their own thing make is, they approach it with the same mindset as doing a job. If you're doing your own gig, you've got to diversify, and it wouldn't hurt to diversify even if you're doing a job, right? You could have some part-time sort of source of income. That's very, very favorable. So I think what us Sri Lankans need to move away from is like one track, one source, one income mindset. Have multiple sources where you're hedged, and then you will be okay.
You're muted, Joshua.
Yes, thank you, Fahad. So yeah, somebody has asked on the chat again about procrastination. What's up with procrastination and how to get over it? So, what's your opinion on that? Both of you.
Okay, just before we answer that question, I should tell now, Fahad said even when he applied for a couple of corporates, he didn't receive a call from them. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you can't, right? Please don't get into that mindset. If you do it, you won't be successful ever, right? In Sri Lanka, what happens is they expect you to have certain qualities when they're getting for job. If you don't have that, they judge, because we have only one interview, my son, right? So we have only one interview to judge you, and it's unfair by you, we know, but there's no other way we could do it, right? That's why we come up with assessment centers and stuff. Again, it doesn't give us 100% judgment about you, right? It's maybe 5% of you. So here, two things work for you. One is luck. You need to have your luck in your side. And number two, that's what I said, networking, connections. That will take you a long way, right? Because if I recommend you to someone else, you have more opportunity of getting through the interview, because I have already recommended you, right? That's one thing. And please don't get disheartened. It's normal, perfectly normal. And to answer this question, yeah, you can keep delaying things. We all have done. Sometimes I'm still doing. So I can't say I'm 100%. I usually take a lot of time to do things. So that's something I can improve as a person. So two ways you can learn. Some people learn through mistakes. So some people learn through experience. So with the time, you will, sort of realize, okay, it costed me this by delaying it. So through experience also, you will definitely understand the consequences, and you will automatically do things at right time. That's one way of learning. Or else you can do self-reflections. What I do is usually on Sunday evenings, I jot down my key objectives of the week, and usually I do it at this time. So I'm pretty relaxed. So I sort of write down whatever the important things I have to do. So that way I don't miss much. And then I keep track of it throughout the day. That's how I manage it. So as I said, I mean, people learn through experiences, and there are a group of people who doesn't learn at all. So sadly, so I don't know which category you are in. So put little effort to reflect. That will help you.
Sure. Yeah, so I think we have exceeded some of our time. So we have one more question. So we'll finish off with this question, with this last question. So one person has asked that, saying that in these days, sometimes we feel blank. How can we overcome it? Blank in the sense, I think what this person is meaning is that not motivated of like having new ideas or what to do and stuff like that.
I would like to answer that in the sense that first, Macham, that's fully normal, because these circumstances are not what we're used to, right? This is the first time in a lot of our lives that we've experienced this. Like, I mean, if you look back at our lives, if you're old enough, you remember, I'm sure Bharat will agree, there was a time that there were extended power cuts, right? Where, you know, that was our life, and that was the norm for about 2 or 3 years, right? And that became normal. And then now this is the time where there was a time when the war was normal. You know, we expected a bomb to go off every day. Those aren't normal circumstances. Those are existential circumstances. And the fact that you're feeling blank is nothing to feel shit about, because, dude, this is a breakaway from our normal routine, right? And I'm not going to tell you like techniques and ways to overcome it, but just simmer in it and feel it, because this is reality. And none of us are equipped. None of us have been trained to deal with this reality. Like, we were never put in quarantine and isolated and all that. We are not trained to deal with this, right? So it's normal to not deal with it well, right? We have a limit. Like, if this ended last year, we would have been okay, right? But we were always seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. No? But now the problem is, our light take a tunnel now our brain is like, you know, fuck this shit. Our brain is like, can't process now. And it's normal. So it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel blank. It's okay to not be able to process. You don't always have to be motivated and on your game. You don't always have to be on the ball. You don't always have to be switched on, because these are not normal circumstances. And I just want to tell everybody that, dude, you feel blank, that's okay. That's normal. We're not programmed to deal with this. But the question then comes, okay, as you're feeling that, take some time and ask this question. And I would like to leave you guys with this sentiment. Are my thoughts useful? Thoughts come. The next question is like, what is this contributing to? Like, you know, Bharatha saying the news is always negative, man. It's shit, right? And then mama අනිත් කට්ටියත් එක්ක කතා බහ මෙච්චරක් මැරිලා මෙච්චරක් කියලා වෙලා මෙච්චරක් ඉන්ෆෙක්ට් වෙලා, we know this, so no need to තව ඒකේ කරගින්න ඕනේ නැහැ, right? We know it, accept it, but can we contribute to things that are going to help lift us a little bit? In the meantime, is it going to be perfect? No. Are we going to be okay? No, right now. But it's okay to accept that. It's okay to be fucked up for a little while. Forgive my language. But what I want us to say is that it's okay. We don't need to be motivated and switched on and A game all the time, because these circumstances are different. But at the same time, ask yourself, okay, process. How can I look at this in a useful? Just ask the question. Because these aren't normal circumstances, is what I want to say.
Okay. I mean, thank you. I mean, like, you've been both of you have been really great in answering all the questions. And I think, Mr. Bharatha, that you have anything to add to that last question?
Yeah, so I can continue what Fahad said. So just to help you cope up with this situation, I'll give you three things that you could try out. Fahad, please feel free to add more if you have any. Number one, you can allocate some time to do a self-reflection. You could do this weekly, just 30 minutes. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to feel you are behind. That's fine, but do a self-reflection. That will take you a long way. Trust me. Trust me, that will take you a long way. This could be in terms of your studies, maybe your physique or whatever it is. That's fine. You just do a self-reflection. This is where I wanted to be. Now this is where I am, and this is what I'm going to do. It just 30 minutes on a leisurely. Do it leisurely without any distractions. Just 30 minutes. I'm asking. Just 30 minutes. And number two, eat well. Your nutrition is like very important, more than ever, right? Number three is linked to exercising, right? It will boost your immunity, and it will make you feel that energy. And since you're at home, doing some exercises would help you a lot to manage your energy, keep your energy levels. And number three is, if possible, try to have a mentor. I'm not saying like he doesn't have to be a certified mentor, but someone who you could open up. And I think if you try out these three things, I mean, there is one more thing, so I will make it four. You can also do something occupies you, maybe to play the guitar, play the PlayStation, or play with your pet. These things will take a lot of stress out of your head. And also reading books is one of the main things. Fahad, anything to add?
Matang, that was perfect. Nicely rounded, covered all the bases, nothing to add. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And yes. Okay. So I think we've had quite a roller coaster talking about this, the winning mindset, and I'm sure like everyone here have actually reflected on a lot of things. You two brought to the table, and I want to actually thank you from the bottom of my heart for actually taking the time and for answering all of these questions and actually thinking and giving a well thought answer to everything. So very much appreciated. And so with that said, I think we've come to the end of our session. So again, I want to thank the Rotaract Club of RACNSBM, the Community Service Avenue for coming up with this project, the UOK episode 2 of Winning Mindset. And again, a big thank you to Mr. Fahad and Mr. Bharatha on your presence here. We really appreciate it. Thank you for joining with us. And also thank you to the audience for staying here with us for nearly 1 hour and 45 minutes. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for having us. See you guys. Be safe.
Absolute pleasure, guys. Take care. Have a great evening. See ya.
Take care. Good night. Bye.